Hi guys, my name is Alyssa and welcome back to my channel. Today I am starting the Saturn series and I am starting this with Saturn and Scorpio. I have Saturn and Scorpio, but that is not why I'm starting it here. I'm starting it here because Saturn is currently in Scorpio. So I feel like even if you do not have Saturn and Scorpio natally in your birth chart, you are kind of feeling the effects of what's happening right now. Also, most people with their Scorpio Saturn, they're going through their Saturn return. And so I'd like to just kind of talk to you about it a little bit of a pep talk, as it were. Saturn is the planet of responsibility, of teaching, of hardships, of lessons to be learned, of issues, of discipline. It's basically your mean father that really loves you. It's the father figure that stands over your shoulders and is looking down and says, no, you can't go to the party tonight because you have school tomorrow. I know that sucks. I know you're going to be a loser tomorrow, but I care too much about you to let you do that to your body. That's Saturn. So Saturn being in Scorpio right now represents a generational father figure, because it lasts for about 2.5, 3 years. And if you graduated high school in like 2002, 2003, 2004, you will have your Saturn in Scorpio. And so all those people that you say were so close to, you all had the same Saturn issues. And being a Saturn in Scorpio myself, this is what I noticed when I was in high school. We were such a lost generation. When I was a freshman, it was like nobody cared about my class. Like my class was just kind of like, oh, there's like nobody that really stands out. There's nobody that's that great, no one that talented. And we had a great senior class. And when I was a senior, it was like, oh, who cares about the senior class? But the freshman class, man, they got a lot going on, like they're really cool. But Saturn and Scorpio, it was just like we were facing rejection, we were facing loneliness, and we were facing these big fears. Saturn wants to teach you lessons, and when it's in Scorpio, it needs to teach you Scorpio lessons, the lessons of the Scorpion. What is Scorpio? Scorpio is death, it's Hades, it's regeneration, it's like birth, it's energy. You're born, you die. You have sex, you have a baby, so that baby is born. You die, that baby goes on, lives, has sex, has a baby, dies. That's Scorpio. And in general, if that was what life was about, life's a bitch and then you die, why on earth would we be here? But sometimes for a Saturn and Scorpio, that's just what it feels like, and then we die. And even now, while Saturn is transiting in Scorpio, there's so much death. A lot of people are dying. People who are just, it's like their time is up. Saturn's going to take what it needs to take, because it's teaching lessons, and maybe it's teaching it to the individual, maybe it's teaching it to everybody, but they're lessons about death. When you are born with Saturn and Scorpio in your natal chart, you feel like death plagues you. You feel like death is after you and that maybe you should give in. And I don't know one Saturn and Scorpio person who didn't have suicidal thoughts for a period of their life. Not only are you facing death all the time, you feel alone in it. And it's a very hard placement to have. I'm not saying that when you have your Saturn and Scorpio that you're not happy. And I would hope that if you're watching this and you're my age, that you found your happiness. Because that's what your Saturn return is trying to help you with. Trying to help you find your happiness. Trying to see if you've learned enough, if you've broken through the fear that Scorpio has to offer, that you would come out on the other side and that you would be alive and you would be happy. You're trying to break through this barrier of, I don't know, pessimism. One time someone told me that at the end of my Saturn return, I wouldn't even recognize myself. That Saturn is so transformational. I would get out of my Saturn return and I would just like look back at my life and be like, what was that I was living in. And it is true. We should all be going through our Saturn return, and we should all be facing transformational energy. Now, sadly, when you have this energy around you and you're holding on to control, you don't go with, roll with the punches, you don't change, and Saturn doesn't transform you. And it gives you chances, it really does. But you have to be able to live in the chaos. It represents emotional control. Family, emotional drama that we were in the middle of, that we had to witness and that we had to see firsthand and be aware of. It's hard to come out of that and be okay with emotions, to be okay with feeling, and to want to be complicated. We all want to say, oh my God, we're so simple. I'm so simple. I don't understand. I don't have any baggage. I don't have drama. I'm fine. But really, Saturn and Scorpio, we are so complicated. We are a web of interconnected lies about our own well-being. Because we have to be okay. We have to be strong. We have to be level. And if that means we don't get up here, but we don't fall down below here, and we just stay on this even keel, then we're okay. But the problem is that we're learning, and all of these things that are being thrown at us are not to teach us emotional control. Yes, they make that happen. But they're trying to teach us how to be okay with emotions, how to respect emotions, how to respect our complications, and how to be there for other people and allow them to feel through us, because the Scorpio Saturn feels so deeply and knows what to say to somebody who's hurting. I went through a very big, sexual assault on me. It was when I was 20. And this happens also to Saturn and Scorpio. It's sex too. It's not just death. It's bad things happening in the way of sex. And this happened to me, and it was by a friend. It was at a party with a lot of friends. No one really knew what went on, and when I said what happened, when I felt like I needed to give the truth to people because I didn't want this to happen again to anybody else, I really felt like I needed to go and fix everything for people and just be like a voice that could talk about this. And all I did was go to the place in the hospital, and by the time I got home, everybody knew it, and people were calling me a liar. I had no idea that people thought I was a liar. I had no idea that people thought that I made up everything. I know some people were telling my friends, well, you really believe her? I mean, it is Alyssa. And I was like, have I ever lied about anything? I was shot through this cannon. Like, so many people knew what happened. And the last thing that happens when you're sexually assaulted is that you want everybody to talk about it. It's just so great. Like, everybody's just talking about it like it's no big deal. It was weird, the amount of gossip that happened with this. And when I tried to fix it and try to stop it, I was basically told by church elders, because this happened within a church, that I wasn't allowed to talk to anybody about it, that I couldn't say my side of the story. I just had to shut up. And I made people feel awkward. They really told me that. They said, please don't tell anybody what happened. We'll deal with it on our end, and we'll tell the people that we believe should know. So, church elders talking to pastors, talking to other people that I don't know about me, that happened. And that was really, really fucked up. And I spent a lot of time after there trying to learn how to get control over my voice, control over sex, control over other people, control over men. You try to figure out what it is about you, like why this happens to you, or why you deserved it. And I learned through this, I could take all of this shit that happened, this one clump of my life, and granted, it took a long time to get over, but I could transform it. I could make it better. I could be there to help other people. When Saturn comes back, it's coming back to ask you to make sure that you're doing these things, dealing with your emotions, that you're not just putting them back, but that you're actually diving into them and feeling them deeply, that you're actually allowing yourself to go a little bit crazy, to see new things, and to open yourself up to the fact that you can actually live, that life isn't a bitch and then you die, that life happens and you're supposed to live it. And yeah, you're gonna die. But with the Saturn and Scorpio, the reason why it seems so hard to live for so long, you're learning how to live more freely, more strongly, and better than anybody else. If you allow it to happen, if you dive into the chaos and the danger and you say, fuck, I am going to live now. And you'll get to live and you'll get to feel free. And you might be the only people on earth who know how to actually do that. Saturn is not a curse, though it feels like it. If you allow Saturn to do its job, Saturn will bring you further than you could ever dream. There's not a lot of Saturn and Scorpio famous people right now because it's not our time yet. That time is coming for Saturn and Scorpios to rise up, to take life and actually start living it, and to take our place in the world, to be strong, to make our mark, because a Scorpio Saturn is going to be needed, especially in the day and age we live in with all the shit that goes on. There's nobody that can handle it better than a Saturn and Scorpio. So just start preparing yourself. When Saturn goes into Sagittarius, your life should be transformed. And if it's not, maybe you didn't take a leap of faith. And maybe you're too afraid to let go of your own emotions and to just really feel and dive into the chaos. That's all I got to say about that.